Welcome to the next episode of the BRIO in the Box podcast. Today we're featuring our whey protein powder in salted caramel. So this all comes from our own line of custom formulated, small batch crafted supplements that we had done called BRIO Plus. Our whey protein ones, we made sure that we included a digestive enzyme, helps you break them down and absorb all of those amino acids better, helps you grow your muscles and repair from your workouts. We also made sure they were sweetened only with stevia, which is a more natural, non-caloric sweetener. One of the things that kind of started me on this journey of crafting our own supplements was trying to find ones that didn't have aspartame and like artificial sweeteners that are hard on your gut bacteria. A tip that came from one of our members was to make like an iced coffee kind of beverage. Busy doctor on the go, trying to get some calories and nutrients in, not junk food on a busy shift, and does like an iced coffee with some protein in it and sometimes a little bit of cream for the fat in there. So you have like a little bit of energy, a little bit of protein, a little bit of fat, and kind of shakes it up and drinks on the go during a busy shift. So I thought that was, that was a cool idea. And the salted caramel went well.
Frappuccino.
Yeah, a little caramel mocha kind of thing.
Tasty. Yeah. Have to try that out.
Yeah.
All right. So today we're going to talk about Jocelyn. This is another episode in the Get to Know Our Coaches. We're going to unravel the enigma that is my wife. So, Jocelyn, where'd you grow up?
I'm from Saskatoon.
What?
I grew up about 200 meters from where we are right now. So, my parents lived just down the street from us, and they've been in that house since before I was born. So I grew up shortly, not that far from where we are right now.
Yeah.
So in Lakeview, in Saskatoon, I went to Lakeview Elementary School. I left in grade 5. I went to Greystone.
What's Greystone?
It's just another school. So
A school for?
big old nerds.
You were a gifted child?
I was a gifted child. Yes, it's true. That was the label they used to slap on us back then. So yes, I was pulled out of Lakeview.
I was not a gifted child.
Academically talented program. It was called ACTAL.
ACTAL,
yeah.
Okay.
So I went to grade 5 to 8 with all of the other mega nerds. And then I went to high school at Aiden Bowman. And then when I graduated, I wanted to get the F out of here.
Yeah.
And I moved as far away as I could figure to Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
I went to university at Dalhousie.
Okay.
Out there, I lived in Halifax for 5 or 6 years. I did 2 degrees back to back at Dal. Had a great time out there. It was awesome. It was a very cool experience to live in the Maritimes, something very different.
Yeah, I've never been out there.
The Prairie provinces. And I feel like had I not just like hopped on the opportunity to move out there, that I also may not have really spent any time in the Maritimes.
Yeah.
It's so far. It's kind of expensive to get to. I've been there a handful of times for just like other weightlifting events and stuff, just kind of in and out on a weekend. But I'm super grateful I took that kind of leap to live out there for as long as I did and really get to experience a different part of Canada. It's still the same country, but it feels like a very different place.
Yeah, even going to Ottawa that time we went for a seminar, it was like a totally different world over there.
Yeah, you really get a sense of the wide variety of different cultures and cities and things in Canada.
Yeah. This is not going to be a super long podcast. Let's not spend too much time on this, but what sports did you play with?
This section's not going to take up any time. None. In line with being a super mega nerd, I was not a very athletic child. One of the least athletic people you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
I was just like a really big math nerd. I like literally played the flute and went to band camp, like American Pie style, went to band camp.
Did you actually go to band camp?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Like several times.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, lots of times. Played in the youth orchestra, did all that kind of stuff. Just like really not into athletics, very uncoordinated.
Did you try anything ever, or was it just?
Yeah, like I remember my parents putting me in gymnastics. So I was old enough to remember, maybe like 6.
Yeah.
And I just remember being so afraid of everything. I have this vivid memory of hanging from the uneven bars and just screaming until somebody got me off there and let me quit. And I fully remember just like having a fit and a meltdown until my parents were like, God, fine, we won't make you do gymnastics. So, and then like in elementary school, I was the kid that would like fake that I rolled my ankle so I didn't have to do the track meet, like that kind of thing. I just was like not into it. I did play just like school level volleyball and basketball.
Yeah.
In like kind of grade 7, 8, 9, 10, till everybody got taller than me. And then my illustrious school sport career was over.
Yeah. Could you ever dunk?
Yeah, totally. On one of those little like Fisher Price, like mini tykes.
Half the time.
In high school though, my dad and I got really into long distance cycling.
Oh yeah.
And I did a lot of, we did the MS bike tour, it was called back then, 100-kilometer bike event. So I guess I like had a little foray into, you know, long distance cycling. Had a good little road bike and could pedal for a long time. And then I ended up with like a weird knee injury, overuse, and probably not strong enough. I should have been squatting to handle that much repetitive action.
Right.
And then from there, like most of high school and most of university, like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. What, back to school, tell us what your degrees were.
Okay. So I have a Bachelor of Commerce, and then I went straight into an MBA. Both of them, I double majored in finance and marketing management.
Right.
So math, science, money, marketing, all that kind of stuff, business. Yeah. That was my jam.
And then what were you going to do with that?
So when I finished my MBA, I got a job with a investment management firm out of Calgary called Trimark. It's called Invesco now, big international mutual fund, ETF, financial products company, as an inside salesperson. So my job was to work between the financial advisors that were selling our funds and EFTs to their clients, like they were on the end retail side, and then between my company and the investment managers and stuff that made like the investment products. So I was like the wholesaler between those two. Right. So I was inside sales, which meant I was in the office in Calgary, mostly like on the phone with people. And then I worked on a team with like the outside sales guy that would go to the offices and visit people.
And how close to the Wolf of Wall Street would you say your office was?
Not like really far away. Not at all. Okay. I was not a stockbroker in NYC by any means. Okay. It was a pretty chill office. Okay. And then as far as like the other people that graduated with finance degrees that got recruited into like investment banking and other like more high pressure areas of the same industry, my job was awesome. Yeah. I got paid really well. It was fairly low stress. I wasn't working 100 hours a week. I had pretty like regular steady work hours. My job was mostly just to chat and shoot the shit with people and explain some occasional equations and, financial metrics to them. So it was a really good job. The people I worked with were pretty cool. It was a pretty good bunch, paid really well, especially for like first job out of school. But I was sitting at a desk all day and I just really hated that. Yeah. And I knew that I like couldn't do that for the rest of my life. And I really did not like having to work for someone else. I just didn't like that someone else controlled my schedule, and my success in my career path was at the mercy of whether someone else recognized I was doing a good job for me to get a promotion. And just like, I also have a real visceral hatred of like corporate speak and people that say words like silos and let's sing from the same songbook and let's, stuff like that. I just like couldn't handle, and I couldn't make myself talk that talk in order to like get into that world enough.
Let's sing from the same song.
There's a lot of them. Let's not make the podcast all about that, about horrible corporate jargon shit that people say. It's really, we'll all want to throw up in our mouths a little bit.
So when I met you, you were doing that job.
Yep.
But you were still working out and stuff.
Like, okay, so when I was in grad school, so my last year of doing my master's in university, I was just the typical like, I should probably get in shape. Like, I don't know, get skinny or whatever. Yeah. And so just started going to the gym. The girl that was doing my hair at the time, she was my best friend's cousin, and she was preparing for a bodybuilding show. She was doing figure, and she was just like really little, but really ripped. And she was like about my size and stuff. And I was like, I just want to look like her. I was like, I want to do whatever she's doing because I like that. Yeah. And so just started going to regular Globo gym, worked with a personal trainer briefly to just kind of like learn about stuff and what to do. Yeah.
And you did a few bodybuilding shows.
Yeah. So then left Halifax, moved to Calgary, decided I wanted to do a few of those bodybuilding shows, found myself a bodybuilding trainer that would help me like prep for the shows and stuff. So I was right in the middle of that world when you and I met in 2007. I was literally in the middle of like dieting and prepping for a show when we went on our first date. And to be honest, to this day, I'm not really sure what you found appealing about my personality during that time because I was like, not fun at all, right? Like no drinking. Yeah. I was like super annoying about like weighing and measuring everything I was eating, and also just like a grumpy, hangry bitch. Like just
you weren't that bad most of the time.
Okay, well, like that's what I remember about it. And I was like, I'm not really sure how you met me in the middle of that world and went like, this is the one for me.
Maybe I just have rose-colored glasses. I don't know. I don't know. Seemed fine at the time. I don't know.
So then, because I wasn't loving sitting at a desk all day, I would go, where there was like a little gym in our condo building. I would go do some cardio in the morning. I would go to the Y, which is right across the street from my office, at lunch, and go like lift weights and do some stuff. And then we would go to the gym together in the evening, or I'd go see my trainer. So I was like 3 times a day, just like wanted to be in the gym all the time. And which was it was a fairly new and exciting thing for me, because I did not grow up understanding or appreciating athletics or physical fitness or anything whatsoever. So it was all sort of a new discovery for me, and it was really fun to decide to figure out that, I actually really like this. And I was pretty good at building muscle and all that kind of stuff. So it was like a new adventure for me at the time.
And then you and I discovered CrossFit together.
Yeah.
What do you remember of our first CrossFit workout?
So, because we're heavy in the bodybuilding world at the time, I had a subscription to Muscle and Fitness magazine. So this was like early 2008. There was an article called "The Hardest Workout in the World," and it was about CrossFit. And we talked a little bit about this in our first episode. I was like running half marathons and prepping for these bodybuilding shows and doing yoga all the time, like super into fitness. And I was like, bring it, And then, so we kind of looked at CrossFit.com, crafted our own workout that was sort of a mashup of like Murph and the Filthy 50. So it like started and ended with a 1 mile run, and then it was a whole bunch of 50s of things. Yeah. Like just a horrendously programmed workout.
Yeah,
like
terrible.
Yeah. This was before there was like CrossFit affiliates around, or like somebody that should have showed us how to do this better. But Gold's Gym in Calgary, it was a leg day. We went and did this like supposedly CrossFit workout that we had come up with, and just got annihilated. Like got my ass handed to me. I remember making it through the workout okay. The second mile run at the end being like particularly hard, but made it through. But it was like the 7 days that followed where I was like not okay. My legs were seriously messed up. And again, shouldn't have done that. Should have had a coach. Yeah. There definitely was a better way to start CrossFit than that. But basically had that like, got my ass handed to me, crushed my ego, and then had that awakening of like, like I'm nowhere near as fit as I thought I was. And like many, many people have that same experience with CrossFit, and you're like, like I thought I was fit. And so like, there is something to this thing. If my supposed level of fitness had me like basically unprepared for that combo.
Yeah. That was a doozy.
Yeah.
We've redone it a few times as well.
Yeah. We did it on like the 10-year anniversary and it's like, there's some weird movements that we put in there. I don't even know. I have it written on a little piece of paper in my office, like sumo front squats or something. I think I'm not even sure exactly what we meant by some of those things, but we did like overhead lunges and
it was all with an empty bar.
Romanian deadlifts. Yeah. It was all like light, 40 or 50 pounds or whatever.
We don't do those ones anymore.
Yeah. Someone in the gym was like, we should do that workout, like, I was like, no, we shouldn't. It's not good.
You have to edit that one.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about what you do at BRIO. What's your job? What's your role?
What's my role?
What do you specialize in?
So we talked about in the last one that like your experience came from like kind of people management, organization, running staff, so that our skill sets tend to interlock like puzzle pieces quite well. So you do a lot of that stuff. And then I do a lot of the nerdy organizing stuff in the back. So I've mostly always handled all the financial stuff.
How was teaching me how to do accounting?
We just recently started handing off the bookkeeping to David. He's trying to take something off my plate while I'm back in school. It's fine. You're fine. So David's doing the bookkeeping now. It was me for all these years. I do all of the website stuff. So everything you see, I built the whole website. I do all of the coaches notes. So there's a whole hidden section of the website for the coaches. We do a lot of like, there's a bunch of videos and development and coaches notes and all that kind of stuff for the coaches. I do all the blogs, everything that you see that pops up every morning. The design and implementation of like the new BRIO app, all that kind of stuff. That's all me. I run all that back end stuff. MindBody was also usually me. Tinkering and running, all those sorts of things. I do most of the social media, the graphics. I do all the graphic design. So everything that you see, every t-shirt, the development of our supplement line, hats, toques, all the retail product stuff. That's all me. I like designing those things and doing the digital artwork and everything for all that stuff.
It's definitely a missed calling that you probably could have done that as a career because you're very good at that, but it's just hard to do it when it's not for your own thing.
Yeah. So I like the little creative expression of those things with designing.
Yeah.
Everything you see, every logo, every sticker, every water bottle, I do all that stuff.
Yeah. And she'll spend hours on her computer perfecting a t-shirt design before we release it.
I like to tinker with that stuff. It's fun. Have to get it right. And that's where I could never do it as a career because it takes me forever because my skills aren't great at I can see it in my head, but I can't make it happen in real life. Or it takes me a long time to get it right for sure.
Yeah. Plus you're a perfectionist. So.
I mean, a bit.
Yeah.
What else do I do?
You coach sometimes.
Sometimes I work here too. A coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
3 days a week currently. Oh, I do the whole kids program.
Yeah.
The next gen kids program is all me right now, and the help of some of our coaches once in a while when I'm away working on the weekends. Mm-hmm. It is awesome. I love it. The kids are so fun, and I get such a kick out of it. It's like my favorite couple hours of the week, and just to see how good they're getting and how much they love CrossFit, and to be able to see that passion for something this cool into the next generation is just I love it way more than I thought I would.
Yeah. I was going to say that's not something you were expecting either.
Yeah.
But you love it.
But I do. I love it.
That's good.
Next gen program. The kids are great.
Yeah.
They're so fun.
And now we have Atlas doing it a little bit as well.
Yep. Whenever he's not at gymnastics, he's in there too.
Yeah. You said recently one of your goals is to do a CrossFit competition with Atlas at some point.
I thought that would be so fun. Like when he's
awesome.
16 or 17 and, fit enough to do an RX division of something, that if he and I could do a CrossFit competition together, that'd be a big bucket list thing.
That'd be cool.
Fun. And Dash too, both of them at some point. Dash is a little further off.
You'll be much more of a master's athlete by the time Dash is ready to go. Hey, I'll be that age with Atlas. So, okay, let's talk about you doing CrossFit. Favorite moves? What do you like to do?
Oh, what's my favorite move in CrossFit? Snatches.
Yeah.
Overhead squats.
You had a bit of a history with Olympic weightlifting, so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Like I said, CrossFit was, I guess bodybuilding first, and then CrossFit was really an awakening for me to understand fitness and strength and capability. So as a female and not one that came from a sporty background.
Yeah.
When I was into bodybuilding, it was everything was about being less. You were always dieting, you were always trying to get skinnier, you were always trying to get leaner, less calories, way less. Everything was just about being less. And when I found CrossFit, it took me a while to shift my mindset around to realize oh, all these girls in CrossFit, they're just trying to be more.
Yeah.
They're trying to do more pull-ups. They're trying to back squat more weight. They're trying to have more capability and more capacity. And I was that was a big mindset shift for me. Mm-hmm. And something that I just thought was so cool that no female athlete in a CrossFit gym is how many calories do you think this workout burned? It's that is not what we're here for. We're trying to be more capable and stronger. And I certainly think there's a lot of benefits for men in this day and age too, to have physical capabilities and everything.
Yeah.
But I feel particularly passionate about that with females, and I'm not much of a feminist, but if I was, it would be in that respect that women are capable of so much more than we have given them credit for or allowed them to discover
for sure
and develop, for most of human existence until maybe the last half a century. So,
and CrossFit's such a great world to explore that in, because the women get just as much attention as the men. Mm-hmm. They're often putting up better times in the same workout than the men. It's a very,
CrossFit is from a male female perspective, the most egalitarian sport out there. If you're into equal opportunities for men and women, you should be a super fan of CrossFit, because it's the only professional sport where the men and women get paid the same. The men and women get equal, if not maybe slightly more media attention for the female athletes. The opportunities to compete, the fan base is the same. It's very equal opportunity as if you think of other professional sports, there's the NBA, and then there's the WNBA, which is a fraction of the money and the attention and the media and the sponsors and all that kind of stuff. So CrossFit's super cool in that respect for the opportunity it creates for women to experience their peak potential.
Back to you and your snatching capabilities. When we did the Stu McGill back health thing, they brought Jocelyn up as a demonstration of what's possible for what's the human capabilities, because so many people are tight and they can't overhead squat to save their life. they brought Jocelyn up on stage and had her demonstrate like her ability to move, and everybody in the audience was just like, I didn't know a person could bend like that. Holy crap. And it's just, it was pretty funny. And I got in trouble because I brought my camera out and I was videotaping this, and you're not supposed to video anything.
Oh, did you? I was on stage. I didn't know you got in trouble.
The guy came over. He's like, hey, you need to put that away and delete that. I was like, oh shit, sorry, I forgot about that. Because on day one, they're like, nobody video anything. And there I am just videoing my wife all proud. She's up on stage being used as the like pinnacle of movement.
Yeah. I discovered later in life that like I just had some genetic structural gifts that are good for weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
Always been very flexible, have just like a good ability to build muscle. I'm just a beefier. What did you call me last time? Dummy thick.
Dummy thick.
You and I are like the opposite body type, basically.
Yeah.
I'm short and stocky, which was not a body type that I liked in my teenage years and my early 20s.
Yeah.
Not ideal, right? But you just like take what you have. And then I found this world where those things were not a detriment, but something that other people admired. And that was another major mindset shift for me. One of my first CrossFit competitions, I remember this girl came up to me and she was like, how did you get your quads like that? And I was like, what? Like these things? I was like, I've spent my whole life hating these things, like how thick my thighs are and never fit into a pair of jeans, and was always trying to like hide how big my legs are and stuff. And I just was like, what? Like this girl came up to me like with admiration for these legs that I had spent my whole life hating. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, that was just like clearly it stuck in my head. It was a lot of years ago where I was just like, oh, I've just been like looking at this the wrong way, right? Yeah. Instead of like being mad that I don't fit into like some supermodel ideal, being like short and dummy thick, that I was like, oh, I just need to find the right, I've just found the right world where these things are not a detriment. Now they're an asset to me.
Yeah.
At one point, someone in Moose Jaw organized, it was a weightlifting meet in conjunction with a little CrossFit competition. So it was like max clean and jerk, max snatch, other way around, max snatch, max clean and jerk, and then a little CrossFit event. Yeah. And I, was kind of into like the little competitions and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'll go do that. I'll go lift something. Showed up at this weightlifting meet. And then the coach for the province at the time was like, who are you? And where did you come from? And who taught you? And I was like, well, it's just me in my gym, like learning to snatch. And so
on the internet.
He like took me under his wing and helped me a lot. So I got a lot of really good coaching. Del McNeely was his name. Shout out to Del. Helped me a lot. I did a lot of training camps. I would go back and forth between Regina and Moose Jaw for a lot of years. And Sask Weightlifting Association gave me a lot of help and coaching and opportunities, and really helped me like learn and develop my potential in that realm. So I spent, I think, 5 years training and competing for Team Saskatchewan, and got to have a lot of cool opportunities in that world, which I'm super grateful for now, because I never experienced competitive athletics. So I was old for a weightlifter and athlete at the time. I was in my late 20s and early 30s. But yeah, it was super cool. I'm really grateful for that period of my life, and that I got to like pursue my potential to, I feel pretty good about like, reach the peak of whatever these genes were capable of in that time. And then,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Good memories, good times.
Yeah. So you like snatching?
Did you like snatches?
What about handstand push-ups?
I love handstand push-ups. Have you seen these little T-Rex arms? They're good for handstand push-ups.
Pistols as well. You've always been really good at pistols.
Yeah. Those ones that are like short limbs and good flexibility kind of movements. That's like my jam. So pistols, handstand push-ups, snatches, overhead squats, those kinds of things were good. Mobility and decent amount of strength. Those two things that come together. Yeah, for sure. Okay.
The opposite. What move would you ban if you could get rid of it?
I would ban ring dips.
Ring dips?
Yeah. I hate ring dips. A stupid movement. No, just kidding. It's not stupid. I'm just not good at it. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I feel like you thought I was going to say like wall balls or something.
I was thinking wall balls or rowing or something.
Yeah, no, I'm not good at wall balls. But that would not be my like first movement to ban. I can wrap my head around some wall balls here and there.
But ring dips, hey?
Ring dips, that would be my ban forever from CrossFit.
Yeah. And that's what's weird is like you're super good at handstand push-ups, but ring dips are...
Yeah, and that's maybe why I hate them, because it's like there's no good reason why I'm not good at them. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Never figured it out.
Never again. We're getting rid of the bike and ring dips.
Yeah, you said the bike. I said ring dips. That's all right. We still do a lot with no bike, no dips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you read a lot. How many books do you think you read in a year?
Oh, including audiobooks. Does that count?
Yes. Brace yourselves.
3 or 4 a month, probably.
Yeah, that's a lot.
A book a week.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, a little bit less now that I'm in school.
You have to like learn
I have to read textbooks now.
Yeah.
I don't have as much free time to just read books.
What's the last book you read?
Travis Christofferson's book on the American healthcare system called Curable.
Mm-hmm.
I love Travis Christofferson. Every time I pick up one of his books, I end up getting so enamored with it that like I can't put it down until it's done. He wrote one called Tripping Over the Truth on the metabolic origins of cancer. He wrote one called The Fourth Fuel that was like the history of how like sort of the Krebs cycle was discovered and what we know about like different types of energy metabolism leading up to the discovery of ketones. He just has a really great way of writing that I really take to. So he tells it from a historical perspective. So it's kind of like science history in the way that he rates these things, but tells it through like personal stories. So it's really engaging as opposed to some of the stuff, other books that I read are very like stats and numbers and research and like heavy on the data, which I also like. But I just find Travis Christofferson's books like so engaging and hard to put down. So, yeah, Curable is I think his newest one, and kind of talking about like how far behind the medical industry is versus the advances in science and what we know about like how to determine what works and what doesn't, randomized controlled trials, how much of healthcare dollars are just wasted on treatments that don't do anything. They're harming patients more than they're helping. How do we go about changing healthcare? And it's particularly about the US healthcare system,
right,
which spends like 3 times as much as any other developed nation and has some of the worst health outcomes. Like they're ranked as far as the developed countries, they're ranked last in life expectancy for men. They're second last for women. They have the highest infant mortality rates, like just horrible healthcare outcomes despite spending 3 times as much money as any other country. So a little different from us here in Canada, but he really does an interesting job. Talks quite a bit about Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, the infamous duo. If you've read, Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize for his psychology work and basically the failings of the human mind and in the way we make decisions and all of our many biases and how we can take out the fallacies of the human mind and needing to understand what's real and what isn't and what works and what isn't. Kahneman and Tversky were this like notorious science power duo for years, worked as if people describe it like their brains were one.
Oh, really?
And their skills very much complemented each other. Michael Lewis, famous author, the guy that wrote like The Big Short and stuff, wrote a whole book on those two and their relationship called The Undoing Project. And then Amos died, and it was very hard on Daniel Kahneman, but he ended up winning the Nobel Prize after his friend passed away. So you can't win a Nobel Prize posthumously. So he ended up getting credit for all their work as far as the Nobel Prize goes. He wrote a book a few years ago called Thinking Fast and Slow.
Oh yeah, I started reading that one.
Yeah, so
that one was a little too hard for me.
Yeah, that was his attempt to make all of their research accessible to like the lay person, but that one was still pretty heavy on stats and data.
Not a lay person. There's a lot of big words in there.
A lot of big words in that one, basically.
It wasn't even that there was big words. It was like very long and like it was hard to stick with it.
Yeah. So in Curable, Travis Christofferson's new book, he references the work of Kahneman and Tversky. I'm saying his name wrong, quite a bit, and then how we need to apply what they discovered to the world of healthcare and medicine and stuff.
How many zombie books do you read?
0.
Not a big fiction person, are you?
No, I'm not. I don't read fiction at all. I couldn't even tell you the last time I read a fiction novel.
Yeah.
18 years ago, maybe. Not my thing.
You got a big brain to fill with information. You can't fill it with zombies.
I like to learn things.
Cool.
So I read all the books I read are on like human psychology, nutrition, evolutionary history and biology. Yeah. Those are like my major areas of interest. Yeah. Tons of stuff on nutrition, of course.
Yep.
And then that's how I ended up back in school.
There we are. Okay, rapid fire.
Okay.
Here we go. Pineapple on pizza, yes
or
no? God, that's the wrong answer. Beer or wine?
Neither.
Really? Okay.
I don't like either.
Chocolate or vanilla ice cream?
Vanilla.
Good answer. Country music, yes or no?
No.
Yeah. Salty or sweet? That's the toughest one.
Salty.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Definitely night owl.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about you not liking to get out of bed.
Slow start in the morning. I'm not a morning person, and I do my best work between 10 p.m. and 2 in the morning.
When the rest of us have gone to bed and
yeah, that's when my squirrel brain quiets down enough to focus and get anything done. Not a very functional way to exist in the real world.
No, with kids and
with
stuff.
kids that need to get up and go to school. So I don't get to work like that anymore. I used to all the time.
Yeah.
We used to have a much different schedule before the kids were in school. So now I have had to learn to be a functioning adult in this time zone.
Yeah.
Go to bed at like 10:30, wake up at like 7:30. But definitely a night owl. I'm a slow starter in the morning.
Yeah. Would you ever work out at 6 in the morning?
I was telling someone this the other day. I've been doing CrossFit for more than 13 years. Yeah. I would say I have worked out at 6 a.m. I'm going to be generous in my estimation and say maybe twice.
Yeah.
I know for sure one time I did. I have a definite memory. I'm going to give myself up. Maybe one other time it happened.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Ever.
Good on you people that can do that.
I have so much admiration and respect for people that can try hard in the morning. I coach the 6 a.m. class on Fridays.
Yeah.
And it's all I can do to get there to open the door and turn the lights on, let alone like lifting heavy and trying hard. So
it's not even like just working out. It's the ability to try hard that early in the morning. That's the impressive
There's
thing.
some very fit people that come at 6 a.m. and can
amazing.
Try hard 15 minutes after they rolled out of bed. It's amazing.
Good for them.
They're good people. I will say with the morning people, they're very dedicated.
They are.
As like a fun fact, the people that stick with CrossFit the most, I would say on average, tend to be people that work out in the morning. Not 100%, of course. Obviously, there's other people, but on average, I would say if you looked at our like 1,000 WOD Club most committed wall in the gym, that more than half of those people are morning people than they are evening. Easier for people to be consistent in the morning. So
fun fact.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Why do you CrossFit? It's been a long time, 13 years. Mm-hmm. Why do you do it?
I think it's like changed. It evolves. And I think that's part of like you grow with it over the years. And there's been various bumps in the road where I've had to figure out a new, why do I do this? What am I in this for? The early years was kind of that pursuit of like my peak potential. It was like much more into the competitive side of things and like pushing the limits of like how much could I train and how good could I get? Which came with some fun, external opportunities and competitions and medals and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't really about the external validation so much for me. It was just more about like this kind of awakening of like, I could be an athlete. And I just never thought of myself as an athlete prior to getting introduced to all this stuff. So I had those most competitive years between when we had Atlas in 2010 and then when Dash was born in 2016. So Dash having the second baby and that pregnancy, and it was super rough on me and never really came all the way back from that. And also haven't pursued it to that level. That was like a big hard stop for me. And there was like a rough period of figuring out like how to get back on the wagon, how to approach it. One of the best things about CrossFit is we keep score, and when things are going well, it's very validating because you're seeing improvement. And then the dark side of that is when your fitness is not what it used to be, it's tough to face because you are aware of exactly how less fit you are than you used to be. Like I know exactly what I could snatch before and what I can snatch now, right? It's like you kind of have to, you have to be at a pretty secure, pretty low ego place to be able to handle those things. And I definitely like wasn't a great person about it for a while. Had a bad attitude for a bit until I kind of figured out like that now this is just the kind of thing I want to do. I just want to feel this good. I just want to feel good in my body for as long as I can. I like now I've spent most of the last year, maybe 2 years almost training with Atlas. I think it's super cool. I get a really big kick out of like seeding my passion for CrossFit into the next generation. If I was going to sum it up like that, I love working out with Atlas. Atlas is 11 now. I love running the next gen program and seeing these kids as they're growing up and like really getting into CrossFit. And it's like, man, I wish I would have found CrossFit when I was 9, but I didn't till I was 25. So, if I can do that for someone else now. And then now having the opportunity to work on the CrossFit seminar staff. And that's like, I get to seed that passion for CrossFit to like the next generation of coaches. So, I think it's cool to think about the future of someone that comes and does a level 1 and then where they're going to go with that. Maybe it's just going to change their life. They're going to turn their health around. Maybe they're going to introduce it to their mom or dad or brother or sister and change their family's life. Maybe they're going to start an affiliate and they're going to change hundreds of people's lives. Like, you know, you kind of like start this little butterfly effect and like send it out into the world.
Yeah.
So I super, super love working on the CrossFit seminar staff and getting to like spread that like love and passion for CrossFit to other people. And I like when, lots of the participants, some of them will keep in touch, you know, they'll like message me after, they'll, you know, when they pass the test, they'll like message me on Instagram and be like, I passed, or they'll send me pictures of their certificates. And like, I enjoy when people do that. And, you know, it's super fun to be part of other people's journey now. Maybe I'll put it that way.
And I think being part of other people's journey is you're sort of leading by example, right? Like there's very few CrossFitters that are, well, there's no level 1 CrossFit coaches that are like not CrossFitting, you know, it's now like you just live the life and you lead by example and then teach the ways. So,
And now it feels like, so I'm 38, aging feels less scary and more like a challenge now to be like, okay, like I feel as good now or better than I did when I was 25. I'm fitter now than when I started CrossFit. So it's kind of like, okay, well, how good can I stay for how long? Right. I'm super healthy, very injury free. I've been smart in the way I've trained and applied CrossFit all these years that I'm not banged up. I feel great. I move great. I'm, you know, 80% or 90% as strong as I ever was. So it's like, all right, that's cool. Maybe I'll make it to 39 and then I'll make it to 40 and then I'll make it to 45. And then hopefully I'll still feel this good when I'm 50 and just keep it going as long as possible.
And I think like previous generations, there was very little, like, especially on the women's side, exercise, especially later into life. So most of the like older people from previous generations are fairly like, not incapable, but like unhealthy and like they need a lot of assistance in a lot of ways. And then every once in a while you see a sprinkling of an old gymnast lady who is 80 years old and still can do like a planche on the P bars or whatever. And like all kinds of crazy things where you're like, oh, like maybe it doesn't have to be as bad as it is, you know? So it'll be cool to see.
And I just think like CrossFit, my whole world is CrossFit, right? I'm just like living in this happy little CrossFit bubble. Coach at the gym. All of our friends are CrossFitters. My parents, my kids, like everybody does CrossFit. I travel on the weekends with CrossFitters to teach CrossFit. It's like, that's my whole world. And it's just brought so many great people into my life that like, even if for some reason I didn't want to do constantly varied functional movement anymore, I would like never give it up just because I would never give up all the people. So the people in the world that CrossFit has brought me are just like amazing. The men in the CrossFit world are super awesome in that they generally tend to be the kind of people that really, they just respect hard work and results. And so they tend to be the kind of people that like have a lot of respect for women, right? I've never really encountered like a sexist, misogynistic jerk face in a dude that does CrossFit. So the guys are awesome. And it teaches, I think, just guys being around women that are capable and strong. I remember we had an athlete years ago that had said, he's like, man, prior to CrossFit, I used to always just be attracted to these like really skinny, like really thin girls. He's like, that was just my type. He's like, now I just look at them and I go, that girl can't squat anything. And he's like, he noticed that what he was attracted to in terms of like what he found appealing in a female had changed from just a purely aesthetic look to something that reflected a woman's capabilities and her values or how hard she works or whatever. And I was like, man, that's really cool. Like, so in that respect, like a great bunch of men. And then like just an awesome bunch of women in my life too, that are like not like that kind of typical catty, gossipy girl. I feel like generally to do CrossFit, you have to like be pretty secure in yourself. So girls that can generally build up other women, they're happy for other people. They want to be surrounded by other people working hard and doing their best. And that, so the kind of women that it's brought into my life too have like really been awesome and not the kind of thing that I ever found anywhere else. And maybe it exists, and maybe because I didn't play sports and I wasn't on teams with the girls growing up or anything, I never had that before either. So bringing teams or groups of awesome women into my life has been really, really special to me too.
We always play the game. Well, not always, but we've played the game where it's like, if we won $50 million, what would we do? And Jocelynn's never like, I would retire and never do this. She's like, I would have the sweetest gym and we would have all these things. And it's just like, this is clearly your passion. This is just the thing that you would do regardless of the financial situation. So
I always tell people, I consider myself retired. What's retirement? You get to do what you want. I do what I want. I love it. Like, if I won the lottery, I would do exactly what I do right now.
Yeah. That's a good place to be.
Yeah, totally. I
sure.
would maybe do it in a warmer climate. But that's
Sorry
about it.
for your community, but you're moving to Maui
But you're
with
all
us.
coming to our compound on a tropical island with us.
I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I just love it. I love CrossFit. I'm super grateful that I read that Muscle and Fitness magazine.
Yeah.
Certainly, you know, one article in a magazine changes the trajectory of your whole life, right? Because it's like I said, my whole life's in the CrossFit bubble now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What would we even be doing?
I don't know.
I
can't even think of anything.
I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. It's hard to even imagine.
I know.
Physically, how fit would we be? What kind of job would we be in? I have no idea. Couldn't even tell you.
Yeah. I'm glad we're here.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome.
Good place.
Thanks for the chat. See you guys next time.